Greg lives in Miami, and Greg was watching Hurricane Irma as it was coming through the Caribbean, and it looked like it was going to be coming Category 5 to Savannah at that point. But when it looked like it could definitely be in real danger to Miami, he immediately thought to take action. So he was part of Code for Miami, which is a brigade of Code for America in Miami. And he and his Code for Miami fellow brigadiers, members, volunteers, it's based on the old notion of volunteer firefighters. That's what the whole brigade notion is based upon. But anyhow, so he contacted them, and they got to thinking, well, we need to do something. We need to start documenting shelters. We need to put this in an accessible place online, so that when people start evacuating, like, it won't be all crazy, like it had in previous hurricanes in Florida. So from there, he got in contact with the group in Orlando and the group in Fort Lauderdale. And he also talked to people from Houston who had done a similar thing with Hurricane Harvey. I'm sorry, there's been a lot this year. So really what they did is they created this network of people from different areas. They contacted us as well. When it didn't look like it was going to come really at us, we didn't really have much to contribute at that point. But anyway, so they built this website called irmaresponse.org. You can go to it right now. It's really cool. But they did it in like half a day, just culling various information from various county websites about shelters. Think about like all 67 counties in Florida. They did this within a matter of 24, 48 hours. Shelters, resources, where the nearest bottled water locations were. It really was a lot to put on for one day. But they mobilized in one day, and they were able to see what they did have an impact on people's lives and get people to shelter quicker and more efficiently, and really just spread virally. So that's an example of the power of this sort of volunteer organizing, these hacks, as you might call them, as you might call them. And that wasn't they weren't using high-tech technology. Most of it was actually done in like just a Google map that they embedded on a page. It doesn't have to be high-tech. You don't have to be a super advanced program to be a part of it. You just have to be willing to offer up your hands, really. It's really easy these days to offer up your voice on Facebook or whatever social media platform about whatever issue you may be concerned about. But it's harder sometimes to offer up our hands. Just get out and do things. So that's kind of like what our strategic plan as Open Savannah is our strategic plan is doing things. So my apologies if it's a little disorganized. I would like to pull this up and show it to you, but if not, we'll just go on. Sometimes these dongles never get correctly. Cool, awesome. So I spoke at 1MillionCups about 7 months ago, I think. So when Michelle contacted me, I think the speaker had kind of the speaker behind that kind of disappeared last minute or something. I'm not quite sure what the situation was. But it was yesterday that she contacted me and asked me if I wanted to speak this morning. And I was like, why not? So I don't have a whole lot planned, but I'm just going to talk to you about what we've accomplished in the last 8 months since we started this group. I moved back to Savannah about a year ago. I had my first job out of grad school here at the morning news. And then I went off and did things in various cities. And then now I'm back in Savannah. But a few months after I got back, I felt myself like feeling like I needed to do something. Like I needed to scratch an itch. I've previously been in data journalism, so I've been doing data visualizations for interactive news graphics for St. Louis Post-Dispatch. So I've been doing this similar type of work, working 70 hours a week in a newspaper that was on decline. So that's when I started this group, and I didn't really think much of it. And like overnight, there were like 25 people interested, which has now blossomed in like 200 people. So it's really been amazing to see the Savannah community, the greater coastal Georgia community come together and like see the value of this. And we call it the civic tech movement, but I want to put the emphasis on the civic part because the tech is just a means to an end. The technology, the design, the creative tech, problem solving, those are all just means to an end. And that end is restoring trust in our government earlier, restoring trust in our public institutions. And to do so, engaging the public and getting involved in those institutions, seeing how they work behind the scenes, seeing how difficult it can be often to be public servers, and to really build with the community, but not for it. And when I say that, what I mean is a lot of times in the past, there's been this tendency with certain technology groups like us, like Quick America, Savannah, there's been this tendency to a bunch of developers get in a room and they just try to build something to help the community. But how are they going to know what to build if they're just all the same type of people? They look all just like me, and dressed just like just me, and live in the same communities as me, probably. They're not going to know that. So really that's why we're called Open Savannah and not Code for Savannah, because we thought the word code was like kind of turn off because people can be scared of code. I think illogically sometimes because it's not that hard. People make it do rocket science. It's really not that hard to like just put a little effort. I know it's hard to effort this thing sometimes when you're doing other things, but it's not rocket science. Trust me, I'm not that smart. I've got most of it. Not all of it. I'm not that smart. But yeah. But yeah, there's this tendency to build for the community and this prescriptive nature. And often what happens when it's done is you'll have these groups of developers building these applications, these websites to solve problems that aren't necessarily problems for the people who need problem solving most. And that's kind of what we try to do at the very beginning is to try to align ourselves with the needs of those most in need, efficiency in government services, improvement in their neighborhoods. And we've been working closely at a neighborhood association level. Michelle can attest to that a little bit. And then most of our projects so far have been focused on locality knowledge. I use that phrase a lot, but we talk about open data a lot because open data is what powers all these applications for civic good. But one part of open data, even though it's not open government data, is locality knowledge. And that is ultimately one of the most valuable forms of open data because it's so siloed, it's siloed in everybody's minds. And when I say locality knowledge, what I mean is the knowledge of who lives in the house down the street. Where are all the elderly or handicapped people in your neighborhood? So that when there is an emergency situation, when there is an evacuation, first responders know where to go first to maximize their resources and to make their jobs easier and to save more lives. So that's the kind of, we're trying to blend those two things together. We're trying to blend the locality knowledge with technical expertise. And I use the word expertise very loosely because it's a spectrum. You can be brilliant, you're not going to know everything. You can be brilliant, or you can just know the basics, and you'll still be able to contribute a lot. So this past weekend, I and two other brigade members from Savannah went to Code for America's Brigade Congress in Philadelphia, and we represented Savannah there. And I was told by the executive director and founder, Jim Paulcroft, who was the chief digital officer in the Obama administration. When she left, she started Code for America. I was told that she was more impressed with what we had done in 8 months than what some other brigades in Water City had done in 2 years. So, and that's not a testament to me. It's a testament to people like Michelle who have showed up to our events and just been eager to contribute and learn and like just we built most of our projects in 1 year, and they've been lean projects, but they've had valuable civic good. I guess I can pull this up here and tell you briefly about what we're doing this weekend. It's the deadline to register for it is tomorrow at 9 a.m. It's a hard and fast deadline, so every day for it. I'm going to pull up, first of all. I don't have a slide deck or anything, but I am going to the one that I did. Just turn on. Just for some visuals, I don't want to show you guys, but if not, it's okay. We don't depend upon technology right now. But in crisis situations, we very well do. And the hope is that when these situations happen, we won't lose cell phone signal, we won't lose internet, or you lose all phone lines. But in Puerto Rico, that's a very big reality. I'm not quite sure how to So I'm going to show you guys a few of the things we've done since I last started here.
I'm sorry, Carl. I love the tabs. That's
that's a metaphor for my life right now.
it's getting close to the wall on some things.
It's nice having just one letter.
You hear about things, it's hard to say no sometimes. You work a lot,
If there is a support group for people with too many tabs open, I'll be your first.
I need that support group. Yeah. So this is something we did in August. We had about 35 residents, most of them not technical at all, and we built this map. It's an interactive map of social services. It's called SAD Maps. But it allows you to use your current location. It's mobile, it's very mobile friendly. It's going to ask you if you have a location. And then second, it should be using here. Yeah, so it's got me there. Blue spots to zoom in. Okay, so this is where we are now. So we mapped out all social service locations within. So that's the EBT story. There's a lot. There's still some data missing in there, and that's something that anyone you could contribute to right now, just in a Google spreadsheet. And then when you contribute to it, it updates live on this map. So, yeah, we're really trying to make it as accessible as possible for people to add to, because a lot of the problem with social service data, human service data, is that it's so siloed. You have different churches, different nonprofits offering different programs, different seasons, with different people running them each time, at different hours. And eligibility requirements change. There's so many variabilities that it's really hard to get in a good, fresh state for caseworkers to refer people. So that's one of the goals with this. We have some tabs over here, but say you're just looking for food resources. We'll uncheck all these. And this is beta. Everything we do is beta. It's continuous improvement. We really describe the notion of putting it out there, letting the public give feedback, critique, and then building upon and improving it from there. It doesn't have to be perfect in the first round. So these are all the food resources nearby here. Most of these probably be EBT locations, I would guess. Yeah. Some of them are community gardens and shelters, which we probably may want to consider breaking up for green. Yeah, so the community gardens you see have the circle, and a lot of circle, they don't have a shopping cart, which means you take they're all green because that's the color we have for that category. This is the Google spreadsheet. I'm about to show you guys. So, press Control away. It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Right.
Anyway, it's crazy there. I don't know what's pop-up was taking everything. I don't know what happened there, but anyway, it takes you to a Google Sheets, which is just like Excel, and allows you to fill in your places that you might see in your neighborhood that are missing. And the same thing with actually the first project that we did, I think, that, back in my 6 months ago, I was inviting everyone to go to. We had a great turnout for it. This was it. It was called Sat Club. It was the same concept, but it was just originally just getting all the data together in the first place and putting it into a mobile directory. So basically a contact book for social services. It's filterable by category. You know, just homeless shelters. This would look like your phone, obviously. With all the homeless shelters in Chatham County. There's info. There's map. I think Google Maps on your phone. There's call. You use your phone to make a call features. And to show you an example of the spreadsheet we were doing things, this is the Google workbook that all that data is stored in. So literally, all I have to do to add data to this is just type in a new row, or that one's munition. That would be faith-based. Faith there. I don't know the origin times, the date. So they have their service. What service is it? Yeah, their meal service. Their food pictures. Yeah. I'm not sure what times they have that, so I'm not going to put it in right now. But if you guys know, you should pull it in, because then it'll help populate this community resource. No one else, United Way Coastal Empire does a lot of this work, but the problem is they use a system that's very, very hard to update, and they have trouble getting all the things they don't update it themselves, and they can't figure it out. It's a legacy vendor solution. They probably pay good. I can't speak for them. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they paid a good bit of money to use this, and it's outdated. It doesn't work on the mobile. I tried it, and it's just not. It's really not up to the standards of what people expect in 2017, because our standards have changed dramatically so quickly. What used to be considered state of the art is now just ancient, and we forget that things in the public sector and things in the nonprofit sector are often much slower to come around to new technologies than the private sector. But that's important to remember. That just because you can pay your cell phone bill and hail a car in 2 minutes, that our government is not going to always be able to do that. But that doesn't mean we can't make it better. And that doesn't mean we should give it a poke either. Because what happens is when government is inefficient, at least it still loses trust in government. We think, oh, they're incompetent, they don't know what they're doing. They can do this so much better. If I were in this, I would make this so much more streamlined. I would do this is a 50-page form. I would condense it down to about 5 pages. With pagination too. You have to click through it. Yeah. And oftentimes there aren't online forms. I just got my change of address yesterday from Chatham County, and I have to mail it back, which isn't a big deal. But I'm not really taught to have stamps and letters and envelopes on me. It's just not something I usually carry around. So I'm gonna have to it's not a big deal for me, but it could be for other people who lead far busier lives. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, who have to be somewhere or else they're going to lose their job that way, or who have kids to take care of, which hopefully I don't have yet, or just generally a family to look after, or other big responsibilities. So that time is precious, and I think that it's not intentional per se on the part of our government or local governments. It's a natural byproduct of the system, and also the bureaucracies. And when I say bureaucracy, I don't mean that in a bad way, because bureaucracy is supposed to be good, right? It's supposed to be rules and safeguards that protect us from corruption and all those various things. But when bureaucracy piles up on a local level, county level, over time, and you have more and more bureaucracies that don't make sense with modern technology, then there comes a gulf in expectations, and a gulf in it results kind of in a gulf of trust. Now, I know a lot of the mistrust of government can be pointed back to politics, and that's fair. Politics have never been more distorted than they are right now. But at the same time, politics are a very small sort of government. The city of Savannah employs 1,600 people. I think Chatham County employs 1,200 people. I know Chatham County Public Schools employs even more. So when we think about all those employees who are working hard every day to make our city and county work, they are public servants, and a lot of them are doing the best they can. So how can we make this better? Well, one of our big goals, long-term goals, is to have open data policy in Savannah or Chatham County. Basically, a directive passed by City Council or by the Chatham County Commission that says that all data that's maintained by the local government will be published online in an accessible format for citizens to go out, look at, view, and charts easily, not have to wade through complicated text files or 500-page PDFs. City budget. Yeah, it's 500 pages. But speaking of which, we did some stuff to the budget. We're waiting for the 2018 budget to come out. But this is a good example of what Michelle was talking about in the accessible format. And this is something that I did by myself with my connection. There we go. This is just like a dashboard sort of thing. It breaks down how the budget actually gets spent. This is 2017 budget, not the US budget. But it's in a format where as soon as we get the 2018 budget, we're dropping it in there. So if there's time for public feedback, this tool will be available for use. So the first thing we have here is you can look at the budget in a tree map. And a tree map is basically a hierarchical representation of, so the bigger the square is, the bigger the value for that part of that line of the department. And the red and the blue corresponds to change from previous year. So if it's red, it went down. You can hover over it, how much it went down. Yeah. So yeah, so the Community Economic Development Bureau got about $1 million less in 2017 than in 2016, which is a 7.13% drop. Whereas General Administration, which funds the city manager's office, the mayor's office, all those offices, went up 7.3%, from about $400,000 up, actually. You can drill down to the next layer. This is Police Bureau. You can see exactly where they are spending more money pretty easily, just by hovering over it. So they're spending a lot more on narcotics and training, less on traffic, less on communication center, less on information management, less on professional standards, and less on effective features. So this is just something that takes that really complicated PDF that you have to read the codes for, match the codes back up what they stand for, and then finally, if you're really that interested, you'll figure out what was spent where. Yeah.
I have a question regarding this piece in particular, and I see the city of Savannah as a sponsor, so that's great. How involved are they, and are you trying to encourage people on their own staff that are paid to be a part of this? And then also, are they using this? Are they looking at it and seeing the power?
Yeah,
absolutely, internally and externally.
I've actually, the mayor just called me yesterday. He said he's coming to our part of our hackathon Saturday. But so I think he's got that. But the Office of Research and Budget we worked with this project, they were very pleased with it. They thought it was an interesting way to take what information they had and make it interactive. It surprised me, because I wasn't necessarily thinking that they would be as cooperative as they were. But they were actually pretty cooperative. And it's public records, they do have to comply.
I would think with that many employees, that even a small percentage would be enough people to be able to figure out how to populate things like this, or to work with other people to continue to do things without your help.
Well, so we would, and that's one of our goals too, is to educate both the community and municipal government, if they're willing to let us teach them. They've got a lot they can teach us, I'm sure. So I'm not trying to take a position of higher knowledge, but to show them how these things are done. Because really, when we have it set up now, you can just drop in a comma separated value file, which is an Excel file that you export as a CSV. So when we have it set up now, you can drop in that for 2018, and then you'll have 2018 budget right there. So this is something that ideally, if municipal coffers were a little bit healthier, they might be doing on their own, but they don't have the in-house IT talent. There's also not there's not a mindset to do it this way. There's not an open data mindset. There's this mindset of, I don't think it's necessarily nefarious. In some cases it might be, I don't know, I'm not going to say that, but I think it's more so just, it's not something they've ever done. So if it's not broken, don't fix it. It's their mentality. Well, I think it's important for us as residents to say, hey, well, this is the way we get our information. This is the way that makes it easiest. If you want us to trust you, then the best way to do things is to make it accessible, available, and accessible. So we want to make government available and accessible to people. It's a lofty, high concept, but I think we can do it. We've gotten a lot done in 8 months, excuse me. Made a lot of progress, and here's hoping this weekend goes well. Like I said, we're closing off signups tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. We're giving out $6,000 in prizes to the winners. Wow. So first, second, third place, and then the best prototype, all the prizes. Judges will include a mixture of people. So we're doing them in partnership with SEMA. So in much the style of Greg, my friend from Miami, we pivoted the theme after Irma. And we were going to do something else before. It was scheduled for last month, actually. We had to postpone it with Irma. Or because of the evacuation for Irma. Correct myself there. So yeah, we're working with SEMA, and we're also working with some local researchers, and Southeast leading coastal resiliency expert is coming down to speak on Saturday. So we'll have subject matter experts, we'll have developers, we'll have designers, we'll have local residents, like all of you, who know stuff about your communities, contribute. So if you guys want to sign up, there's only a few spots left, so you may want to do that. Yeah, hopefully it'll be a good catalyst for getting from those communities even more involved in Savannah. We want to be as inclusive as possible. We don't want to be the coders in the corner wearing our glasses and not talking to anybody. So you can get a lot done behind the command line, but you can't get everything done.
So just as an individual, you just go and sign up. You don't need to have a team or
no,
any experience. You just go and sign up.
If you have a team,
and where would you sign up? You sign up
hackforsavannah.org.
Hackforsavannah.org. That's hackforsavannah.org.
Actually, we have a short URL too. It's just hackforsavannah.org. Just take you to the same place.
How much shorter, less typing?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, and then there's a hashtag follow along, which is also hackforsavannah.
And you just need to have at least one hand to do this.
One hand and be able to get upstairs. So yeah, we invite you guys out and thank you for the opportunity. I'll take a question, sorry.
A question about data. Obviously, data is essential to building these applications.
Yeah.
What types of data are you seeking that you don't necessarily have access to, or it's difficult to get?
Okay, so some of the barriers we run into that we didn't even know that is reported anywhere. Asset disclosure for public officials, we're still trying to get that. We're in the process of getting 311 data from all 311 links file, because it would be really interesting to talk about on a map, see where these communities are happening. But like, we ran into, I think it's probably more technical hurdles than anything else on their end, or they don't know. But anyway, I set up a meeting next week after Hackerson is over, and sit down with them and try to figure out exactly how. I was hoping to have some of that data for this hackathon so we could use it and see, look at the requests from Irma and Matthew both, and see if there were any things we could trends we could identify. But,
What's 311?
oh, I'm sorry. 311 is so when you have a non-emergency request. So if a tree's falling down in your yard, or they have to come up and get your trash,
Or your animal in the street?
yeah, things like that. Things that are non-emergency that the city needs to deal with. You put in a 311 request. So you have to call 311. Talk to 311. And everything's logged in a database. Every complaint, every case number. So I really don't understand why it's difficult to get out of the database and just get it to us in the same format. But hey, I don't work there and I'm not a public servant, so I'm gonna trust their domain expertise. Hopefully we'll get that soon. But to answer your question even more thoroughly, we're actively filling out the U.S. Cities Open Data Census, which is something that Sunlight Foundation does, which is a nonprofit transparency group, DC. And we've been filling that in along. We've seen Savannah's scores go up 20 points in the past 8 months, just by the data we've asked for and then put out. And then they've put it out later. One of the examples is the city did a neighborhoods website. I don't know if you guys saw that, or neighborhood section on their website. That data was never out there before until we asked.